welcome to the Ultimate Productivity Webinar for 2024, the year where AI will continue to take center stage. And as I always say, those who are not getting AI ready will unfortunately be left behind. So congratulations for choosing to tune in and be one of those taking responsibility for their own destiny. The reason I organize webinars like these is because I was in your shoes, sick and tired of feeling overwhelmed and burned out by how much work I have, sick and tired of procrastination, scrolling endlessly on social media, sick and tired of coming up with great ideas, then forgetting them or losing the napkin I've written on, until I said never again. Over the last few years, I've been obsessing about the most efficient and effective ways to maximize the value of my time. I read a lot of books, watched a lot of YouTube, and binged on a lot of podcasts. And I can confidently say to you today that the system you're about to learn is the most effective, life changing productivity system. Not because of its complexity, but because of its simplicity. If followed correctly, I guarantee that it will boost your focus, turbocharge your creativity, and help you establish healthy habits that fuel your goals. By the end of this webinar, you will have a full productivity system that not only organizes your life, but also aligns it with your values and your purpose. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Naja Faisal, and I'm the host of Singular Syndicate podcast and the founder of Parrots Lab, an AI consultancy. This webinar is a part of our webinar series, which is the most popular on our channel. So don't forget to subscribe to YouTube to stay up to date with all the upcoming events. So without further ado, let's begin. All right, so welcome again, everyone. I will be joined here today with two of my friends who are gonna interact with me during the session, ask me questions, and also if you're on the chat, the chat is always monitored, so you can always ask me questions as we build this system together. But before we actually start building the system, I'd like to introduce some concepts to you because again, the most important thing is not the tools, but it's the concepts that you will understand because information is king, and that's the most important part. So the toolbox that you need to get ready is a very basic one. So my goal, of course, there's a ton of tools. Like each one of us in their own industry, they use a lot of tools. But I feel that the most basic ones, again, all I'm trying to do is make it as simple as possible. So I want to use as little tools as possible, the basic ones that most of you have already been using, and this is how I'm going to build upon them. So what you need an email for communication. And then I will show you some of the tips how to organize this email too. But probably this would be another webinar because it's like organizing someone's email and having like labels and folders there can take a lot of time. And you need a storage system like a drive to store your files and folders. And I also could showcase how would you organize these folders in a different webinar too. But it's all in the same principles that we're going to go through today. You definitely need a calendar. So I know a lot of you like just don't use calendars, but calendars are important, very important, because they kind of offload all the things that you need to remember about your upcoming activities. it will offload them from your brain so that you kind of give mental space to other things in your life. And then Notion. So this session or this webinar is going to be built on Notion. So what I need you to start doing right now, if you want to follow through this workshop, is to really go to notion.so, I feel. Yes, this is the website, like Notion, .so. I'm going to drop it in the chat. So you can actually go there and create a website, create an account real quick. Again, Canva is an optional one, but it's just a great tool for like building presentations and designing logos and stuff like that. And of course, ChatGPT. So this is the basic toolbox. Of course, I could have a full page full of different tools. I personally use a lot more. I use a lot of automation like Zapier. I use CRMs, and I use all different toolbox. But this is a good starting point. So if you're beginning, this is the tools that you need to just get started. And now we're going to talk about a more deeper things. So the essence of life is twofolded. Is atoms, which we develop physics from, and all of this stuff, and then there's information. So the DNA, which is the building block for all of us, is basically information. So that's the importance of information, and that's kind of the most reduced version of information. So for that, this is basically a snapshot of the basic elements of our lives. I'm saying big words here, like basic elements of lives are goals and projects. Maybe yes, and here's why. So before everything, you have to identify the values, what is important to you, and we're going to go into the definitions of each of these building blocks of this productivity system. But basically, this is the productivity system. It starts at the core is your values, your mission or purpose in life, and your vision. How do you see your life in the future? This is the starting point. And I have developed a kind of a form, or like a survey basically, that takes you step by step and ask you a lot of questions, so that you can it can extract these core things about you from this survey. So if you want to have access to the survey, just send me something in the chat, or put it in the comments if you're watching it later and not live. But yeah, please drop me something, and I'll send you a link where you can fill out, and then it will send you to your email a full kind of description of what it kind of like it helps you personalize your vision, mission, and values. So after you start with that, so this is the long-term vision. This is the long-term, like how do you want people to remember you 30 or 50 years down the line? And then the same way what you do with chess is that you start with the end of mind, which is checkmating your opponent, and then you start going backward and backward and backward. Okay, what are the steps I need to take to be able to win, right? And then these steps are the main goals. And personally, I like to divide them into health, wealth, and love, but you're welcome to divide them the way you are. But these goals are, again, we're going to go into the definition of these terms, but these are the main goals that will help you step by step to achieve your purpose. So this is how we tie in your main goals in life to the purpose, the essence, the most important values that you have, and the things that you want to change in the world. This is how we tie these goals to these values. And then from these goals, you can divide them into projects. Now, there is, as you can see in the screen, there is also stuff that are evergreen. So evergreen means that there are some projects that don't have a deadline. Most of the projects we'd like to have, we just like to have put a deadline to. But some projects, and I will give examples, they just are constants. They have to continue to be there, and we need to account for them. And then from the project, the basic element of the project is a task and a habit. So habits and tasks, again, this is a very personal. I developed this system because I've really thought about a lot of different aspects, and I combined different concepts from so many different people. And I read, for example, Atomic Habits and many other books that allow me to establish this kind of system. A task is a basic element of the system, and so does a habit. And we're going to see how we're going to organize them in the coming slides. Now, I'm going to go through a basic definitions and help you how to identify these systems. So, for example, I'm going to turn off my friends here so that people can see. Okay, so when it comes to values, you ask the questions of what matters most to me. And then usually the timeline of these values is lifelong. So basically, these are what's important to you right now. Now, this could evolve. There could be some reflections in the future, but so far, 30 to 40, 50 years is the timeline. And then I gave an example about my own values. So again, you might, if you go to ChatGPT or if you go to Google and you say, oh, what are the different values I can choose from? There's hundreds of different values. And I'm sure that all of us want to be like kind and, all of the good values. Like nobody wants to be a bad person. But we're talking here the most important values, the most values that you really think the world needs and you are passionate about. So for me, taking responsibility and having like a duty to take control of my life and be a responsible person. Compassion, feeling for others, trying to alleviate suffering from other people. This is something that I really care about. Curiosity, I think that humans have a gift of curiosity. This curiosity will serve us a lot in being creative and being just alive. I feel like when we're curious about something, it's something really dear to me. And then courage, having the courage to actually pursue a goal is also something important. And hope, I'm positive, I'm optimistic about future. So these are the main building blocks. And again, as you're following through with me right now in this webinar, I want you to actually start doing them. Like put in notes on the side, start like a notepad, or if you have a paper and pen, and start like really thinking about them, or at least you can come back to them later. But this is a good time for you to actually think about these questions. This is so much foundational and so much valuable. And then the next step is, okay, the values feed in to your mission and or purpose. So the values are kind of the building blocks of this purpose. So why am I here? Why do I exist? What people will remember me on my grave? These are important questions to ask, because as soon as you start writing them, there was a study that says that people who write their goals, they kind of get them to manifest and get them to be achieved. So this exercise is so much value because it helps you like really write your personal mission statement. Stephen Covey, in his books The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, talked a lot about personal mission statement. Again, this is a combination of a lot of knowledge that I've gathered. And again, the personal mission statement is a long term. It's like 30, 50 years down the line. And so for my example, is my personal mission statement is to contribute to the survival and evolution of mankind. As a lot of you know that I'm a humanist, like I care about humanity. Probably I'm inspired by Elon Musk, who also care about humanity, or so he says. So yeah, this is my purpose. Again, you might have a different one. You might have like a more specific one, more not as grand and as vague as mine, and probably it's a better idea, but this is what I chose for me. And then the difference between the purpose and the vision is that the vision is kind of the picture of how would you like to see the world around you and how you'd like to see your life. So for me, I like to see a peaceful and harmonious world. And then, peaceful meaning that alleviate violence and all this, like the suffering and all types. And then harmonious, I want humanity to work together, um, to expand our consciousness. I think this is for me, like this is the most like foundational, like we really have to understand more and expand our consciousness, and then deepen our understanding of the nature of the universe. I think these are important, and like if I can see this happening in my lifetime, if I can see our consciousness being expanded, if we can as a humanity understand on a deeper level the nature of the universe, that I think is a very worthy goal and worthy vision for my life. Now, of course, reaching like from these granular goals and mission and purpose, to bring it down to goals, there's a lot of time difference. So as you can see, 30 to 50 years, where the goals are only 3 to 5 years ahead. So the goals are still big. These are the main goals of your life right now, and then the coming 3 to 5 years. But they are not as granular as your life's mission. And then here, what you need to ask yourself is, what are the milestones that move me closer to my vision? And this is how you start like coming up with these goals. Again, in my life, I like to categorize them in health goals. Okay, definitely we need to take care of our health. So health goals, I will write them down. And then wealth goals, okay, I will write them down too. And then love goals or relationship goals, right? So, and then you can always, have goals that are related to your love or relationship or friendship and stuff like that. So for my example here, I put get Parrot's Lab to 7-figure in revenue by May 2026. As you can see, there's always time. There's deadline for these goals, which makes them more important, like more specific. And then they're also very specific. I can always, like, if I can say increase my revenue and I don't put a 7-figure, then this is not specific enough. What do I mean by increase my revenue, right? So there's a lot of vagueness in the goal setting. So goal setting it's important to use the SMART acronym, which stands for specific, measurable, timed, and realistic, and attainable, right? So these are the SMART. You feel free to Google it. So so this is basically the goals, and then projects. So again, these are layers and layers. So goals, and then underneath it, there's projects. What series of connected tasks and habits will drive towards achieving your goal? This is what you ask about in your project. And usually the projects are 2 to 16 months long. They take to be accomplished. And in my case, like Singularity Syndicate Podcast is a project, Coyote Hikers is a project, and so forth. And then tasks, what actions I can take today. So the tasks are very short term, so 1 to 5 days. And then you can also always list them down. And then habits. So the difference between task and habits is that tasks are unique, where habits are routine. So habits are things that you do on a regular basis. Walk my dog, check my emails. These should be scheduled on your calendar, where tasks should go into your project management system. And that's how I organize it. So this gives you like concepts of foundational definitions of what we're going to be dealing with. In addition, you would need pages on the side to be a sprint page, which I will explain later. It's the central daily overview of all tasks and projects. You would need a checklist page, which is streamlined step-by-step process for routine tasks, and a Linktree page, which is the single hub for all your digital platforms. And then we're going to build this on top. So for now, I want to check with my friends here. How are you doing so far? What do you think of what happened here?
I like it. I mean, it looks like you have it split up. If you go to the previous slide, really the way I see this slide is just three categories. No, no, I'm sorry. Go back one more. Yep,
That's
that
fine.
one. The way I see it is values through vision is like where are you headed? Goals, projects, and tasks are the methodology, and habits are continuous tasks that just kind of I would say become efficient over time, right? Like if you start, let's say I start going to the gym, it's a task or a goal right now, but then once it's a habit, then it just happens automatically and it happens at the same time every day, et cetera, right? So I see it as like three really just three major categories here. But yeah, I
Absolutely.
like it. Yep. I'm curious to see the dashboard of this thing.
Yes, definitely. Um, Chris, is everything
Yeah,
that going well with you? Okay.
yeah,
Before again, foundational information. This is the time management matrix. So whatever something happens in your life and you want to know uh, where you put it, like if you so the time management matrix go for urgent and not urgent, important and not important. So every time you have something to do, you have to think: is it how important it is and how urgent it is. If it's very important and very urgent, then you have to do it right away. If it is important but not urgent, you gotta schedule it and put it on your calendar or put it on your task management. And if it's not important and urgent, you're gonna try to delegate it to someone else or hire someone on Fiverr or I don't know, delegate it. And then if it's not urgent and not important, you have to say no. You have to eliminate certain things and not you don't have to do everything that comes to your mind. There's a beautiful book called Flow that I read recently that talks about like how to achieve a mental state of flow so that you can perform at your best and be very productive. And it starts with clarity. So you have to have a very clear task. If you put on your list a task that's not clear, it's going to be very vague and it's going to be hard for you to achieve it. So sometimes I think about something and I say clarify this, and I put the task name so that the task is to clarify the task. It's very important. Focus. Multitasking is, in my opinion, and in many other pioneers, is a total BS. So you gotta avoid all the distractions and have complete focus on the task at hand, and that's how you until you finish it, and that's how you should achieve it. And then freedom. No self-doubt. You cannot scrutinize yourself and keep scrutinizing yourself. You will never reach perfection. So why keep scrutinizing? I know a lot. Like when I started content production, I was like, I'm perfectionist, so I keep beating myself and keep delaying because I'm afraid of not having the perfect podcast or the perfect webinar. So this is also important. And then feedback. Try to always find ways to get feedback because feedback loops gives us a lot of energy and motivation to continue. And then the task at hand should be a little bit challenging, but not too much. And this is something the book talks about a lot. Like if you're playing chess with a very weak opponent, you will not enjoy it. And if you play with a grandmaster, you're also not going to enjoy it. But you only will enjoy the task if it's a little bit above your it's a little bit challenging for you. Other productivity tips I want to talk to you about would be, for example, face difficult tasks first. This will give you a boost of energy when you accomplish it. But if you keep procrastinating on it, it will not. It will basically slow you down and give you less motivation. Overestimate your timeline. Sometimes we think that, oh, this task I can do it in 1 hour, but it takes a day. So put a day there, and then again, I'm rushing through this because I want to go into the Notion setup. But this is also very important. Like these are like tips that are well crafted. I've studied them. This is kind of like a summary of my whole journey in this process. Bundle similar tasks together. If you have writing tasks, put them together and start doing all the writing with in each other. And this is because you don't have to go and start something else and cluttering your desktop or whatever. If you're doing writing tasks, start all the writing tasks together, for example. Same with other categories of tasks. And then remove distractions, like put your phone in silent, keep it away from you, and all of that stuff will make sure that will help you become more and more productive. And then finally, learn how to enjoy the process. I think a lot of us would want to find something that we are passionate about or something that we enjoy, and we do. But reality is we do a lot of work that we really are not passionate about, but we have to do it. So instead of finding your passion and then doing it, which is probably an ideal vision, but reality is that we have to do work that are not it's not part of our passion. So we have to learn how to enjoy the work we do instead of the way around. And then these are the tips. And then finally, I want to you have to find rewards. I think every time I check a tick box from my task list, I feel a sense of reward. But also, if you want to reward yourself with also things that are also rewarding. And that would be it. Let's jump to um, the Notion. So I'm gonna build this Notion from scratch. I already have my Notion, which is pretty cool. I can pretty much maybe share with you a little bit of how it will look. But let's see, for example, let's see if I can. Oh no, I cannot share more than one screen. So let's go to Notion and we will build it together. But I have a beautiful like setup for mine, and we're gonna build it together right now. When
Yeah,
it comes
maybe at
to
the end, sorry to cut you off. Maybe at the end you could just do a screenshot of your setup once you've taught us how to put everything together, just so people can see the finished product.
Absolutely. When it comes to calendar, of course, you can create different calendars. I'm not using calendars, but calendars are good, and we're going to see for the habits. So, for example, if you finish work by 5 and then you need to walk the dog by 7, so you could just put walk the dog in your calendar and then make it to repeat every day. Um, Make it daily, and then you have got like 7 to 8, you've got something set up on your calendar already. And then of course, this is not my calendar is like a lot organized, but this is just for me to show you how you can set up your own calendar by yourself. So calendar is important. We're going to come to it, and let's begin with this. Um, so get Notion for free. Let's set up a new account. I'm going to set up with my new account. And then for my team, let's say for personal use, it's free to use for personal use. And yeah, don't worry, it's going to be a little bit at first, it's a blank canvas. So, as you can see here, like, it asks you for templates. Let's not begin with any template. I'm just going to delete the first page, delete everything. And then, all of this stuff, you don't basically need. I like simplicity and I like clean stuff. So I just want you first to understand how Notion works. So Notion has two types. One is a page and one is a database. So once you create a page here, and then let's say this page, we'll call it. You can here choose if it's a table. These are the different types of what you're building. So it's a template, a table, a board, a timeline, or whatever. And there's more. For us, we're gonna create a table, and this table will be our data source. So now we're gonna create a new database, and this database we're gonna call it projects. So what are the elements of these projects? We've got the name of the project, and then tags. Again, I like to simplify. So I'm not gonna have a tag, although you're welcome to do it. But again, for me, less is more. The more I can take away things, the better. So for me, I'm gonna remove the task. So now we have a name. So the only thing we have in the project database is a name. Instead, we need to add a status for this project. And the status, I'm going to do none started, in progress, and done. we can keep them the same, or I can add to this something like maybe um, deferred. Okay, so this is a status that is, I'm going to postpone this this to later. I'm going to postpone this project for later. Again, you're welcome to do it the way you want. So now we have a status added to this project, and that's basically all what you need. And then let's put on the projects that we talked about. Like, for example, I said, okay, Singularity Syndicate podcast is a project, Coyote Hikers is a project, right? And then let's say maybe Household is a project. See, you said the household is an evergreen project. So you're always going to be paying your bills. You're always going to be taking care of your household. So this doesn't have any deadlines. If you want, you can add another property here, and then, date, right? And then this will be your deadline or due date, and then this will be text. So you're welcome to add. I don't like to add a lot. I like simplicity. Okay. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to change the status here so that I can show you what does it mean to have status here. And then and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to make it like a board. Okay. So here in the not started, so you have X and then you have Y. Okay. So all of these projects you haven't started yet, deferred, in progress, and done. So the in progress one, you can have like a picture view of all of these. And I want to show you that Singularity Syndicate podcast, that this project, you can add so many things to it. First of all, you can write here the plan of everything you want to do. You can also click this backspace, and then here you could add a page, you can add a to-do list, you could add a heading, you could add bulleted list, you could have toggle. Toggle is very useful because you could, for example, if you're building a full plan for this podcast, so I can have, for example, the graphics as a toggle, and then here I can put item 1 and then item 2, and then I can hide it right like this. So this is really helpful tool. But most importantly, and then we're going to come back to the projects, because you're going to install a table here, and then here table view of a new database, and this new database we're going to call it tasks. So the tasks database is another simplified version. Again, back to the structure that we created. So project, underneath the project, there's tasks, and then the tasks will have a different categories here. So for the task, we're not going to have tags, but we're going to have a project tag. So we're gonna have a select, an option, and let's come back to the project so I can show you, like, the task will belong to a project all here. So we'll come back to it after I finish this. The other thing you can do for the project is adding a property. Like here, for example, you could add where is it? Yeah, that's what happened when you're doing live. There's some things that slip. Yes, so you can add an icon here, and that's really, I'm a very visual person, so I like to change the icon here and like make it, for example, I don't know. You can also upload your own icon or you can have something like this, an apple, and then you can have a cover page for this project. So you can design it the way you are, the way you want. You can write the full plan here of this project if you like to. You can add images to it, links, quotes, anything you want.
So far, it's looking to me like it's very similar to like an internal wiki page that you would have for yourself, right? You have like
Yes,
wiki directories basically that would outline everything. Um,
absolutely. Yeah. It's a black canvas. So this is the page, and this is the ultimate page, and then you can do a lot of things here. Like you can build the whole plan, and then you have these toggle lists underneath, and then you have your task lists that are part this of this project. So if you want to come to this project and see what are the different tasks you have, so let's say we have task 1, and then we have task 2, and then we have task 3, and then so this is the project tasks, which are a different
so
a
for the
different
sake of,
element.
sorry to interrupt, for the sake of the listener, I would assume that within your podcast, let's just pretend, let's create some make believe scenarios. Let's pretend that task 1 is to meet with your investors, right? You
Mhm.
have a new channel coming up and you or whatever a new series coming out and you're meeting with some investors to discuss the content and whatever, right? So that would be an example, right? And then another would be starting season, like your fourth season of this year's. Who are going to be your guests? Who am I interviewing? Right? Like
Okay.
who are my guests, for example? And then you might have um, update studio hardware, which would be a different little task within this new subcategory, right?
Yes.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. So I'm writing as you're saying some examples. Now, the I,
Yeah.
the important part is really, sorry, I don't know how to spell, but the important part is to write things that you can accomplish within a day or a week maximum. So that's the idea. And also, you have to be as specific as possible so that you have clarity, as we talked about in the flow. And then you could also have stuff like that, like webinar series, productivity episode. Another, like you could basically put on the tasks that you need to accomplish within that day or within a week. And I will show you how you're gonna deploy this into the other the other into your lists basically, and we're going to talk about this in the coming future. So now we have this is a kind of a Kanban view that shows you all the projects that you are involved in, what are the ones in progress and what are the ones who are done. Of course, household is never going to be done, it's always going to be in progress. Maybe the Singularity Syndicate is not going to be done, probably it's going to be in progress, and then you will arrange them like just like that, very nice. And also you can change the deferred thing, you can change the order of these things so that you have a view on all your projects, and within each project you have a task list. So with every project you go here and then you go for table view, and here basically you're calling out the table that is called tasks. Now we will get into, for example, the options of, um, hold on, let me just find.
Yeah,
Um,
if you wanna take like a quick second to just populate the fields real quick.
did you see what happened right now? So add relation. So I added a relation. So this will populate my projects into my tasks, and this is exactly what needs to be done. Let me show you more. So let me first of all delete this property. Okay. So now for every task, this task is related to a project. Again, it's very important to understand this project is a database that lists down the main projects in the hierarchy of things. Each project will have a list of tasks, and this task is related to the project. So what I did here, I'm just going to repeat for if you missed it. You're going to add a property, and then you go down until you see relation. So how did this task relate to your project? So you click on relation here, and then you establish the relation with the other database that you created. So this is the database that you're creating, and this is the project database. So you're establishing that relation. So what does that help you is that Meet Investor. Is Meet Investor related to Coyote Hikers? No. So Meet Investor is related to Singularity Syndicate podcast. So now it comes here. So when I do filter, and I do filter by project, I will say, show me only the tasks related to Coyote Hikers. And now I have none. So I can add, for example, organize the M hike. Okay. And now I have to organize this hike, and it's related to Coyote Hikers. So this is how basically you bundle tasks under projects. So a task is under a project. Again, you can add due time. I don't like to add deadlines, and I will show you why. Okay. Are you okay on these things or not yet?
I mean, it's pretty straightforward to me. I don't know about Chris. I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Chris
it makes sense. It's basically like a way of project management, or at least making sub projects where if you honestly had to, you could actually delegate some of these tasks to anyone involved in any other project.
Correct. But now we're talking about personal systems. So I'm talking about it's only you. It's like you're just managing your own life. Okay. So we've got the projects, we've got the tasks. Now, what we need is page. This page, I'm going to call it sprints. You can call it or top urgent, or you can call it anything. This page will call out the most urgent tasks you have. And I usually like to have an icon that is like red circle. Or this is good. You could call it the capture. Just capture. Basically, what's happening here is that we're gonna capture the tasks, and then we're gonna have this capture to be in itself a project. Okay, let's go back and do it slowly and delete it and do it slowly so that you understand what I'm talking about. Again, I'm sorry because it's in my head, but I need to always be cautious about like how things. Imagine you start with a project, and this project, let's call it capture list. Or
let's make a. Why don't we make a pretend project that everyone can kind of relate to? Let's just say you want to renovate your bathroom in your home. And
okay,
is that what you're referring to, a specific project, or are you referring to like daily tasks that come in throughout the day, throughout the week, that you just need to categorize? What are you trying to do here?
hold on.
Like a large...
The capture list is an exception. Is the only list, is the only project that is going to be a constant. But let me show you. Let me show you what I mean by it. So the capture list is you're gonna go and make it favorite. So you go there, and then you go to okay, not seeing it.
Maybe under get notified.
No, that right here, like add to favorite. What happens is that this capture list comes here. It's a project, but it came here to your favorite list. And inside of this capture, I'm going to have a table view. And this table view is going to pull the tasks. However, these tasks, I'm going to filter them by a project. And this project is the capture list. So what that happened is that this is this is the sprints basically. Okay, let's say, okay, this table is empty. Why? Because I filtered it with the capture list. Now, if I go to my Singularity Syndicate podcast, I have 3 tasks here. Not all of them are urgent, but I need to schedule them for this coming week. So what I will do is I will go to properties, and then make this project's property visible. Okay, and then now I can add meet investor. I can add it to my capture list. Sometimes I like, personally, I call the capture list, I call it my top urgent list. Top urgent. This is how I deal with it. You don't even need to have list, but just top urgent. So this is a project where you actually put things, like you're basically saying that meet investor, not only it's part of the Singularity Syndicate podcast, but it's also in the top urgent project at the same time. So what that means that with this page, you have direct access to the top urgent projects. And again, I like to view the property that is the relation to projects. It's the view, properties, and then projects. Name is visible, and then project is visible. Yes. So now so now we have the projects. Okay, let's add some more projects. Let's say, okay, we're gonna add also something called the vision board. Then we can add, again, renovate the bathroom. That's a good one, because it involves a lot of things. For example, buy a house, right? So this is a project that involves a lot of tasks. And then underneath, like in every house, you will have to open a table view, and then bring the tasks table into it, and then filter it by the project. So you filter it by a house project. So now for this by a house, you have to, for example, identify the area that you want to consider buying a house for. Again, you could use also ChatGPT to help you refine and produce tasks that are like clear and tangible, and then you could have make a short list, right? And then so these tasks belong to buy a house. However, if I decide that this make a short list to be a top urgent one, I'll add this project to that task so that it appears in my top urgent here. So now make a short list belongs to buy a house, and it's top urgent at the same time. So projects and tasks are the basic foundational of the system. Projects and tasks. Now, top urgent is one page. Another page would be interesting for you to have would be a checklist page, where this checklist is like every task that you do routinely. Every task that you do routinely should have a process, and this process is converted here to a checklist. So, for example, publishing a podcast is one of that checklists. So what I need to do is I need to, for example, let's say I recorded. Now I need to distribute it on Spotify, and then I need to send share it on social, right? Media. So for you will know better like what are the checklists that you need to care about, and then here you can turn this bullets into a to-do list, and now you have a checklist. So checklists are different from projects, and I will explain as well how. And then you can turn this checklist to a toggle list, and then take these two and then put them inside of this. And now you have, this is checklist number 1, and then you can hide it, and then you can write checklist number 2, checklist number 3, and now you have kind of a list of checklists that you come and visit from time to time. So it will help you, instead of like memorizing all the processes that you have a checklist to refer to. So this checklist will also go into your favorites. So in my favorites, I always like to have checklists, top urgents, and the final page I like to have in my checklist will be a link tree. And link tree, let's have an icon that's called link. And then in the link tree, I will put here all the links that I have. Like, okay, my Facebook page link, right? And then my Instagram, and then my YouTube, and then my website. Okay, so all of these, basically it's your own link tree, and all what you're doing also is like putting these links here, so you have access to them very quickly. And then I put this also in here. So basically you have these 3 important lists that you can see everywhere. By the way, Notion is available also on your mobile phone, so you can have access. The most important thing for me to tell you is that the top urgent is your capture list too, because it's already programmed to have the top urgent in it. So as soon as you're before sleeping, you find an idea, you want to put it in, you want to capture it, you will use this list, and then you will add this idea to be explored, and then you will add it, and it immediately takes the top urgent thing. Now, the reason why I don't like to put deadlines is because one of the things that is always going to be here is what I have it here in my own, and it's called revisit priorities. Revisit priorities and assign sprints. So this one is a constant on this list, and the reason why it's a constant because every week, in the beginning of the week, I have to come here and see, okay, are these my top priority for this week? I might go to my projects and then look into like the different projects that I have. Oh, I have this task here. Let me add it to my top urgent. Or this task here, let me remove it from my top urgent. You can remove it with this minus sign here. And now it stops to appear in your top urgent. So the way I see it is that this top urgent page is your week worth of tasks, and you assign them based on what you think are your most priorities. And this revisit priorities thing, I would put it in my calendar. Remember, we have our calendar here. So on every Monday, for example, I need to have the revisit and assign priorities. And I will put it in my calendar. I will put it to repeat weekly on Monday. And now I have this task that is habitual. Again, this is a routine task. Every Monday, I have to come and visit my Notion and start assigning tasks for myself for that week to come. And these tasks are coming from the projects. These are the different bigger projects that you need to achieve. And then you are constantly looking at what are the priorities of these projects. I want to take a pause here and ask you guys, are you able to follow? What do you think? And people in the chat, like, what do you think about what's happening so far? I know it's a lot. You're mute.
The mic. Sorry. This is one of those things that I definitely think that if you're going to be successful with this, you need a lot of small attempts first, building out to something larger, like anything really.
Yeah, what do you, Noel? I know that this is like I'm, let me actually try to show you what mine looks like, and then probably this
Yeah,
will
I'm
help you.
dying to see the filled out version. I think it, so far from what I've seen, it shows potential. It looks like it's a lot of directories, so I think people can get lost in that, where
Definitely.
you're creating a directory under a directory under a direct, and then you can move this directory over to this so it kind of starts to feel like Windows Explorer folders, but for tasks, right? So I think when you show your view, maybe we can help oversimplify that piece so that they could see how all your stuff is connected. I just hope you don't have anything in there that's too personal, you know what I mean, like.
No worries, man. Okay, so this is
Nice, look at
how mine
this.
looks like. Okay, so mine, as you can see, my top priorities are the ones I look at all the time. And I have my top urgent list, as I said. I have my household list, things I need to take care of, evergreen all the time. And I have my education, my master's here. And I have my company, Paris Lab, as a project. Again, I could optimize a lot more, but this is basically what I have. I have the statuses I have is done, post, canceled, constants, and planning. These are things I plan. For example, Singularity Syndicate, I shouldn't have it in the planning here. I should basically put it in the constants, right? These are like things. Prompt engineering tools is something I'm planning to build. The imperatives, for example, I decided to cancel it, so I'm putting it here. The things I've done, like in the past, these are things, I mean, again, I've done, but a lot of them, like my love life, right? It's here. I have tasks under love lives, right? My personal brand is a constant too. My job search, probably my job search is deferred right now. It's been there, so I put it in the cancel. I don't like to delete anything because this is how I keep myself like organized. So for me, these are the ones that are keeps me like focused. Okay, this is are the projects underneath Parrot Lab. I have, for example, all of this planning taking place here, but I also have the tasks that are related to Parrot Lab. Does that help?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think that's great.
And then the projects are a database. This is the way I can see them. And then the tasks are also a database. And they have different, like they are, each task is associated with a different project. And this is how basically it's organized. And my top urgent are the things that I need to pay attention right now. And I like to keep them less than 7 tasks per list. And this is, for example, my link tree. My link tree is arranged in toggle lists. So this is all the Facebook links I have. This is the Instagram links I have, Twitter links, all of this stuff is organized like this. So if I need to find a link, I don't need to really like go places. I just kind of come here and grab it.
So this is another place where it would be helpful for that. Like this is why you would want tables or a database, because, or one of the many places you'd want a database, because let's say you have 10 different Instagrams for 10 different brands that you're managing, right?
Yes.
You can assign the project to each different Instagram. One Instagram might be for 3 separate projects that will all have the link there, but they all fall under that one uh, Instagram when you see it, right? But then the tasks can be, oh, I've got to upload the new logo to Instagram 1. I got to make sure the music for the intro for Instagram 2. So it could be still separate projects. So I think this is for anybody in the audience that's wondering like what really the purpose of a database is. And I would assume most people understand. But if you don't, it's just a way of kind of attaching attributes to specific uh, tasks or let's call them the projects, and then you can kind of mix and match them, filter them in different ways. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right. I could literally convert this link tree into a table, into a database. You're right. I have something similar here, resources. I didn't talk about it, but this is basically a brain dump. Like, let's say you're browsing the internet and you found a cool website. Like, for example, train ChatGPT on company data, right? Or maybe like this one, explore video survey and formless. and I found this link. I copied, I bring it, I put it here in my resources, and I can make it related to a certain project as well. The reason why I decided not to use this format, I decided to put everything into the task. So let's say you have a task, and then you have a task here. Let's say, okay, build a resource for online courses platform you'll use, and then here you could add the link. You see, so you could add the link and resources to inside a task, because every task, every item in Notion is a page in itself. And this page, by the way, you can publish it. You can have a link, and then you can share it on the internet. Even like you can publish it on the web, right? You can make one page a website. And I had my personal website done on Notion for a long time, just like that, just publishing a single page.
Really? That's really cool. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
like
Yeah, that's awesome.
this is actually it. Like I had this published as my website for a long time. So you could design things like this on Notion as a page, and you can publish it.
That's really useful to know, man. So it just gives you all the code. You just copy paste that into your hosting
No. What
or.
you do is you go share, and then publish, and then grab the link. Grab the
Oh,
link,
you
and
don't
then you
even need to
have it.
copy code or anything over. You just.
Nothing.
Ah, that's
Nothing. Now you
fantastic.
have this link. If you have a website, noel.com, you can redirect your domain into that link. And now you have a website on the internet, just by it's as simple as that.
Oh man, dude, you're gonna have to do a. I would love for you to do a little video like the one we're doing today, a little webinar on this specific piece here, like the actual how would I get all these things put into a table and then put up on the web, because I'm sure for a lot of people, especially if they're using like WordPress or they're doing kind of an online blog or things of that nature, I could see where this would be very useful. Or
Oh,
even if you have
absolutely.
a lot of people are doing products pages now where if let's say you're like your hiking group, what a lot of
Yeah.
people will do is, let's say they have an Instagram where they'll say, oh, today we went hiking, we use these hiking sticks, for example. They'll have a link that goes to a product page where it shows the hiking sticks linking back to Amazon or something to that effect. So I think this would be, for anybody looking to do that, this would be a great solution, I think.
Absolutely. And I can pack it for you, man. It's not, if you have Notion right now and you start a brand new page, right? Here is your icon. So instead of putting an emoji, I created custom and I upload my image. You see? So this is the first step, to have an image there. The second would be your cover. Again, I can do change cover, upload my own design, or you can link it, you can grab a photo from Upsplash or whatever. So you figured out the cover and the logo. And now this is the title of your page. You can make it the way you want. And then here is just a text. A text, you can add emojis, you can have Parrot Slab to be a link, and then you can have, like, all of these are emojis, right? Text and emojis. And then this is a heading. So turn into heading or text. If I want to make it less bold, I can make it text. Look, it becomes a text. If I make it turn into heading 1, it will be like big. If I want to make it less big, I can make it heading 2 or heading 3. It becomes smaller, right? It's that simple. And then here, these are callouts. So if I want to create this Let's Connect, similar to that Instagram thing, I can make it turn in a call out. See, with the call out, it kind of like had make it a little bit, there's a shade behind it, and then it adds an icon here that you can add. So Instagram is a call out. So now I can make it turn in back into heading 1. And
So
that's
I
how it
assume
goes.
when you do that, when you do the call out, it's pulling in the logo directly off that provider? Or
Yeah,
did
like
you have to add these?
let's say I want, okay, Noel to be a call out. So Noel is a text right now. If I click on this and I make it turn out call out, it adds a little icon to your name. So I can change it, okay? and I can make it a link if you want to link it to
Oh, I
something.
see. I see. Okay. But
You
you
can add a
didn't.
link to it here, and then you
Gotcha.
can paste your link here, and now it's becoming a link. And then it's easy also if I want to put Noel on the other side. Like let's say, so this one is the full column up until here is one column. If I want to have two columns, I grab it and I take it with me and I put it in the end here, and now we have two columns. You want to have three columns? No problem. You can take this, grab it, and have it three columns. You see how simple it is?
This is definitely going to be useful for me. I'm currently using a spreadsheet, doing exactly what you're doing, but on a spreadsheet with formulas
Yeah.
versus just doing it in a UI like this. So this is kind of neat.
Yeah, and I love the visuals, like I like to visualize things, makes it look pretty. This is also, you can integrate a form, like a newsletter form. Again, I built this to become my website at some point. I don't use it anymore, but I can integrate Typeform into this as well, which is pretty cool. And then here I did exactly the same thing. This is a heading, this is a call out, and this is some text, and this is a link. And then I added them into different columns. You can add dividers too. Like a divider is basically a divider. Like you can add it. You can say, okay, here, maybe, yeah. So you can add these dividers too into it. And then here you could also integrate YouTube playlists and stuff into that. So anyway, my vision board is pretty also neat. Like I have like all of this different like vision board with pictures and all of these codes, and like I love playing around with these vision boards. But mainly I use this one all the time. This is my go-to page. And of course the projects help me look at a bird's eye view of all the things going on in my life. Sometimes I look at my post canceled. I see, okay, maybe I should bring one of the old projects, maybe not. So stuff like that is very helpful. But is there anything else do you guys think that I need to like talk about here?
Well, my first thought is seeing this actually could be a shortcut to building resumes for someone, because most people think you're supposed to have 2 pages, and that's not enough to really explain what a person is, the background, anything. But then having something like this, you have the ability to expand as far back as you need to, and even have links out to other things like your LinkedIn, for example, your GitHub page, any kind of personal work that might be linked non-traditionally. You have one central repository for all of it, which is amazing. You can even print it off if you needed to, or even just make a QR code you can hand out on business cards to make connections even faster.
Yeah, I've again, personal website, it could be could be a resume by itself, and you could also add inside pages to it as well. So for example, let me just I think
Right,
I told,
like the one you just had up. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. By the way, I love your shirt and tie, man. It's very festive for the
thank you.
Halloween, Thanksgiving. I'm wearing a whatever skeleton thing here. No, I was going to say, man, like the one you were just showing us would also be, in that case, would have been a perfect, like Chris is saying, that's a great resume. You get on that page and you go, oh, this guy has a hiking group and he does YouTube videos and he's learning this and he's helping people with, integrate AI into their small business or whatever. So I mean, it's a great place to just have people like, hey, just go to the one site and you'll see everything I can help you with, or all the different features or whatever. So I think that's definitely a great idea. Everyone should have one by this point.
Yeah, absolutely. um I'm looking also at I just want to add one thing about what you can do within that page. So let's say podcast and live stream is right now just a heading, correct? You can convert it into a page. So if you convert it into a page, if you enter it, it makes a new page. So this is how you also can navigate. Like your website doesn't have to be one page. It can be like you can have this you can have this as a menu item. So let's say you put this as a menu item on the side so people can navigate through your website instead, and not just using it this way. So it's pretty neat. I just want to add this thing. I'm trying to think so the simplicity of it is basically all what you care about. You need to add two databases. One is for project, one is for tasks. If you want to play it dumb and simple, that's the easiest way. One for projects, one for database, and you create a relationship between them, meaning that the project underneath a project is a task. A task is related to that project. This is basically the basic element of this system. And then you have to make the top urgent as a favorite so that it appears right up here, as well as my link tree and the checklists. The others are optional. I personally keep them just to, because I want to fix my website all the time. For example, I used to keep it here, but basically I don't really need it here. So in that case, remove from favorite, it will go away. My master plan for Parrots Lab, I could probably put it under my project, the project of Parrots Lab, so I can remove it from here if I want to, but I just keep it here to keep editing it because I'm working hard on it. And my thesis master plan, I also keep it here. I could also have it part of my project. But basically, this is what we need to have a system that hopefully works in capturing. The idea here, Noel and Chris, is to capture all the things that you come up with on a daily basis and put it in one place. Once you do that, then you can revisit and then come and reorganize them into projects and tasks. And this will make you feel less frustrated, will make sure that you are being creative because you're basically writing down what your brain is doing. And when you come back, you can organize them into different projects, and then you can intentionally choose what you're going to be working on this week because we have this scheduled things that we need to work on.
I'm gonna be nagging you for some guidance once I start putting stuff in there, man. So that's phenomenal. I really appreciate you doing this because I actually really do need to get organized. So this is phenomenal. We have quite a few questions from people in the audience, so it'd probably be a good idea to just kind of take a look and see if anyone else wants to see anything.
Absolutely. Okay, so let me go back to these questions. Goals, projects, evergreen, tasks, habit. Yep. And then.
Yeah, somebody mentioned, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, goals should not necessarily be in money. They have team, network, and people that are working together with you, like Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, your mission, your goals are similar to your teams. Yep, you can. Yeah,
if you're doing it for an organization or something where a lot of people are involved, that's absolutely true. Yep.
Yeah. If the goal is to reach 7-figure in your podcast audience, it would be of interest, and the goal that could be attainable if you have the right guests and the right marketing that reaches your audience. Yep. Thank you for the comment. So Rebecca says, Notion looks amazing. I'm planning to create a documentation and can now see how to organize into projects. Yes, definitely, Rebecca. Thank you for the comment. It seems that I would need an expert in using these computer programs to do this for me.
You got Naja. You got Naja right here. That's what he does. Consulting. He does consulting. So that's great.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's my goal is really to help you. I mean, at least that the intention was to help. Like if you re-watch this video and then probably go slow and see what I was doing in step by step, this could probably, you don't need me necessarily as a one-on-one coach. But if you do, like, of course, you're welcome to reach out. And yeah, there's a lot of also tutorials on Notion on YouTube, and this is how I learned a lot of these skills. But I think what sets this system apart is its simplicity. On YouTube, there's a ton of complex Notion templates, and I personally hate, like, I felt that when I was using their templates to other YouTubers templates, and that's why at some point I was like challenging Ali Abdaal, because I think Ali Abdaal had a template that he uses that's kind of complex. I felt that I'm spending a lot of time filling out the different rows and the different columns that he's suggesting in his template, where mine, with all with all humility, is that mine is simple. Like, you could easily apply it and work with it very quickly without the need for like due dates and tags and all the different features of these tables. Let's continue with the comments. Yeah, my link tree is much smaller, I understand, but as we grow into our digital spaces, we're gonna keep expanding this stuff.
You're
I
gonna
wouldn't
have
say
to.
having a small
That's
space
true.
I wouldn't say having a small one's bad necessarily, because if you're not trying to go wide on everything, you have the ability to go much deeper on any simple task or any simple project, which might be beneficial for some, whereas other people, it's not beneficial enough. So I guess it kind of depends on what you need as an individual using something like this.
Right. Are you laser focused on 2 or 3 different things, or are you casting a wide net to try to get more of whatever you're trying to accomplish? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to add to you guys, the thing I find fascinating is that I integrate my personal and professional life together, and I find this very, very much valuable, because I don't have, like, a lot of people have their like work phone and their tasks from work, and they have that other thing. For me, maybe because I'm like an entrepreneur, or like I work for myself, and like I work from home and I have, but for me it worked a lot for me to have them integrated. So I have my household as a project. I have tasks like do the laundry and stuff like that. And this is also important because it takes some time of your week, and you gotta see it. You gotta see these tasks, even if they're not like really so important to your accomplishment of your bigger goals. But merging basically everything you need to do into one space will give you like more clarity, and your mind will be less confused in looking at different platforms, if that makes sense. Rebecca, again, as my database of projects grow, can I search at a high level and cross-reference?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, very important question. For example, I documented notes about tree. Can I see everything that mentioned tree? Yes, the search function in Notion is amazing. Not only that, Notion has an AI feature, so it can write for you, it can read for you, it can do like, again, it's, if I would just dedicate Notion as a tutorial, it will take me hours just to talk about the other features of Notion. All I was trying to show you is the system of projects, tasks, and favorites, and the way I bring them together. And this is just one little element of what Notion can do. Notion is a big system, and again, it's a blank canvas. So whatever you want to do with it, it's all up to you. You can certainly add a lot to what I just showed.
So I just want to add before we because I know we're getting close to the end. So literally, kind of the way you have it set up, I literally have it set up that way in Excel. But for me, the way you have, so obviously this is better, right? Like this would be the improvement. But like for me, each project is a tab, and then I have like reference tabs, which are like my database. Like, so I'll do like a screenshot. let's say I sign up for something and it says do XYZ within the next 30 days and you get something, right? Whatever. So I'll throw that. I'll just screenshot that while I'm online. I just screenshot it in my Excel tab. And so I look through my, I guess you could just call it like an ongoing, like an ongoing project book, right? So I'll look through the tabs. I'll do my budget on there. I'll do appointments and all that. And so I have all this clutter now where I'll give you an example. One of my banking tab probably has like 30 or 40 screenshots at this point of various, I mean, I never do passwords or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, let's say there's a transaction that I was like, oh, I need to question this. I need to call the bank and find out what this was for. I'll take a screenshot of that and put it there so I don't have to log back in later when I call, right? But now it's like this mess and nothing's attached to anything. So if there was like a specific transaction that was for project A 2 years ago, it's still in there, so that's where this would be helpful. I don't know if anyone else has my crazy system on Excel, but I'm sure there's other people like me. But yeah, I think this could be this could help declutter your basically your workspace.
Yes, yes. Excel. I started with Excel. I'm like you, man. Again, I was in. I was just like trying to improve what I already have. I started with Excel as a good starting point. The problem with Excel is, one, it's not visual. It's not like as beautiful as this one. And number two, you don't have access to Excel when you're in bed. You don't have access to Excel. I mean, going to Excel with your phone is quite a
Good point.
trouble. Like, it's
Yeah.
not as
Yeah.
intuitive. But Notion have a mobile app, so you just go to the app and then click new on the stop urgent page, and then you can immediately, any idea that you have, you can capture it very quickly.
Yeah. So another,
So that's cool.
so another tool that I used to use, and I could see where this is probably much better. Have you ever heard of an app called Evernote? Have you guys ever heard of Evernote?
Yeah, I've tried it a few
That's
times.
that's what I was using because a few years back I was in sales and I had to, if I remember correctly, they have a way in there to get people's business card into kind of a note page where you could have an image of their business card, and then you could show like, met this person at this place, did whatever, right? But it's not integrating seamlessly. And if it is, at this point, maybe it is, but at the time it wasn't integrating into Excel and vice versa the way I wanted it to. So anyway, man, yeah, I get the overview, and I think it's definitely very useful. um I'll start, I'll start using it, and then
Yeah,
as
I'm,
questions pop
I'm,
up.
I'm happy. I'm happy to keep guiding both of you and everybody in the audience. Again, I used before Notion. I used Microsoft To Do, which is a very neat to-do list. However, it doesn't integrate with anything. If I want to export these to-do lists, I cannot. Where with Notion, you could also add automation to that. So you could have a Zapier, for example, another layer of where it can, any item added to the database could trigger other activities and things to happen in Zapier, in for example, Google Docs. So you could really seamlessly integrate Google Documents and Google Sheets and spreadsheets in Google with Notion. So Notion is kind of like, it integrates with so many different things, and that's why I think it was my choice. But of course, there's a lot of other apps, but this is personally my choice. But the most important really is the system, the tasks, projects. You can do it in any other place. It doesn't matter, as long as you simplify your life to vision, mission, and values, personal mission statements, stuff like that. And then from there, you put high level goals that are 3 to 5 years away. And then you break down these goals into projects. And then you break down these projects into tasks. I think if you get this right, doesn't matter the tool. And that's probably a good way to end this webinar. And I thank you for your attendance, and have a great day, everyone. You want to
I
say
just have
something?
one quick question, man. Sorry, it just occurred to me. What about storage? Like, let's say that you want to store, let's say one of your databases contains like a vast amount of images. Do they give you like storage as part of your plan, or
Oh,
would you
that's a
still need
good
to use
point.
like Dropbox or something like that?
I never ran out of storage in Notion. The only time they ask me for to pay is when I ran out of AI credits. So this AI feature, if you use it a lot, they will ask for money. And if you want to integrate a team member, they will also ask for
That was
money.
my next
So
question.
if you want to,
So good.
yeah,
Okay.
if you want to start assigned, because you can have a project that's assigned to your team
Mm.
member, and then you will have to pay. In terms of storage, like for me, like I use Google Drive, and the way I organize my files and folders, even in Google Drive, is is the same way I organize
Right.
Notion, projects and tasks. So there's always a folder for each and every project I am currently working on. And then for each task, if needed, if this task requires some photos and some stuff, I create a folder for that task. So I always have a cross reference. I always have Notion, and I could even use the same name of the task in the subfolder that I create under
Right.
that folder. So this one keeps me organized. If I want to find any folder or any file, I can, like, my mind doesn't have to work a lot, like just goes directly. It's kind of saving some mental
Mental
energy.
processing power for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mental,
That
yeah.
works. Well, thanks a lot, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your time. I'm glad you were able to do this for us.
Thanks for inspiring me to do it, because I think when you were mentioning stuff, I was like, maybe we should do a webinar and talk about all of this. So I hope the other people find it valuable too. And yeah, have oh, Augustine is saying, when should this be available? So this is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to try to build a template where similar to mine, but of course without my data, and I'm going to have it available for
Oh, that's a
download.
good idea.
So you can, instead of actually building it yourself, you can just take that template and then add to it. So I'm going to have this available also in the coming few days, so for you guys to download.
Wonderful.
All right, with that being said, thank you, and see you
Thanks,
next time.
everybody.
Okay.